All right, everyone, welcome back to another video. This is one of my favorite topics that we're going to talk about today. But first, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jessica, and we are both certified occupational therapy assistants with Harkla. And today we're talking about
Proprioception.
our top 5 calming proprioceptive activities.
So proprioception is one of the hidden senses. You have 8 senses, believe it or not just the 5 that you learn about in elementary school. There's actually 3 hidden ones, and your proprioceptive system is one of those hidden senses. It's one of the most important senses, in my opinion. It's definitely one of my favorite.
Yeah. So we all have receptors within our joints and our muscles, and every time we move, anytime we're doing heavy work or receiving compression, we're receiving proprioceptive input.
Yeah, and another big part of this system is being able to complete activities with our eyes closed, being able to know where our body is in space without necessarily looking at it. So if I held my hand up and I closed my eyes, you could tell me to touch my nose with my left hand, and I would be able to know this is my left hand and I can touch my nose. But for someone who maybe struggles with that proprioceptive sense, they might just be like, well, I don't know where is it? Maybe not that bad, but
So true.
yes, so it's a very important sense.
One really cool thing about proprioception is that it's very calming to the nervous system. So things like deep pressure, massage, heavy work are all great ways to calm the nervous system when you're overstimulated, right before bedtime. Use these proprioceptive strategies at those times.
So another cool thing about this system is that most people aren't over responsive, they aren't oversensitive to this system, meaning that they aren't going to, have adverse reactions like they might with vestibular input, like we've talked about in previous videos.
Another great thing, there's so many great things.
So many, this is why it's the best.
Another great thing is that proprioceptive input is a great way to override any overstimulating input. So we love to use proprioceptive activities after vestibular input. It's also a great one to use after tactile input or anything that might be overstimulating to the system.
Okay, so now that we kind of have a little background on what the proprioceptive system is, let's talk about some of our 5 favorite calming proprioceptive activities.
Okay, number 1 is heavy work, which is going to be pushing or pulling heavy items. This can look like wearing a heavy backpack, wearing a weighted compression vest. This can be pushing a heavy grocery shopping cart, anything pushing or pulling with your muscles.
Yeah, a couple of my favorites, wheelbarrows, those are fun to push around. Filling a laundry basket full of books or toys or clothes and having the child either push it or attach a rope to it and have them pull it. So just try to keep in mind those pushing, pulling, compression, and stretching to the joints. That is heavy work, which oftentimes is referred to like kind of interchangeably with the proprioceptive system as heavy work. So another one that we love is using weighted blankets or weighted vests or compression vests. So that input on your body is very regulating, very calming. If you've never laid under a weighted blanket, then you truly are missing out because it is one of the most calming things for most people. Again, some people feel a little bit claustrophobic under that heavy weight, but for most people it is very calming because it just gives them that sense of self. Like, this is where I'm at, this is how I feel, this is my body, whoa. For kiddos who have more proprioceptive dysfunction, maybe they feel like they're floating up into space and they don't really have that control over their body. So that's why these heavy work activities, the compression vest, weighted vest, kind of brings them back to give them a good sense of self.
Number 3 is going to be oral motor input. Anytime you're getting oral motor input, you're getting a lot of proprioceptive feedback to your jaw, and that's very calming to the nervous system. So these are things like chewing gum, sucking on a hard piece of candy, using a straw to drink thick smoothies, chewing hard, crunchy snacks. Anything like that is going to be a great way to get proprioceptive input.
Some kiddos, some adults seek this input, and me especially, I grind my teeth and I'm trying to get more proprioceptive input. So if you're a kiddo or if yourself, if you grind your teeth, then providing some chewing gum or incorporating more of those chewy snacks like Jessica said, like Laffy Taffy or beef jerky, really resistive foods, blowing through straws, blowing bubbles into water. We love Bubble Mountain. Activities like that will provide a lot of that input that kiddos are seeking. And it's very common for kiddos to seek that input orally. So providing some of those deep pressure, those proprioceptive activities can be really regulating.
We also really love Arc Therapeutic because they have a lot of great chew tools. They have chew necklaces. They also have the Z-Vibe, which is a vibrating tool for the mouth. And those are great options as well.
All right, number 4, we like to call make the wall bigger. And this is just a silly way of getting that input by pushing against the wall and trying to make the room bigger. So if we're in a room, we're gonna push the wall with our hands, and maybe we'll turn around and push it with our back like we're in a wall sit position. So that way the child is getting a lot of input. Make sure that you help them as well and you make it into a fun game.
Number 5 is going to be to complete slow animal walks. Now, some animal walks do incorporate some head position changes, which is also going to activate the vestibular system. But if you're doing them slow and controlled, then you're getting a lot of heavy work as well. So things like crab walking, bear walking, wheelbarrow walking. Yes. All of those different types of animal walks are great. They're perfect for transitions. So from one room to the next, from one activity to the next is a great way to get some calming proprioceptive input.
So another thing that we want to bring up and make sure that you are aware of is when to use these proprioceptive activities. And a big one is to do before bedtime or before a quiet activity to help bring that nervous system back down to a calm and organized state.
Yep, and like we mentioned, it's great to use proprioceptive activities after overstimulating activities like vestibular activities. Also using them as part of a sensory diet before transitions. So before you leave the house to go somewhere, it's a great way to get some proprioceptive input in part of your sensory diet to feel calm and regulated.
Yep, we do have a ton more resources on this topic. We have other videos, we have our podcast, we have 180 podcast episodes right now.
Okay, so make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you know when new videos come out. Go follow us on Instagram at Harkla_family, as well as at All Things Sensory Podcast. That's the name of our podcast. So make sure you also get onto a podcast platform and listen to all of our podcasts.
Yep. And the last thing we want to mention is if you are feeling uncomfortable about your child's sensory needs, if you aren't sure that everything is progressing normal and as expected, then make sure that you chat with your child's pediatrician about your concerns and advocate for an occupational therapy evaluation, because an in-person therapist will be able to help you so much more than any videos, any Instagram accounts, any professional online, because they can see your child in person and address their unique sensory needs.
Yep. All right, thanks for being here.
See you next week.